resistance.
Well, hey there, my people. Excuse me. All we have to do now is figure out what the next step is. Problem is, everybody's looking for answers. There's not really any answers to be found right now. You're not going to find them. Because the answers that are coming about, that we are looking for, are literally being discussed and thought of. And we're so close to the political landscape right now because of it being President Trump and everybody being all over this like white on rice. It's hard for us to not have answers. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really, 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 really simple stuff. You just observe all of the journalists. They all have a story. And then you cross-reference it with the tweets, cross-reference it with the conspiracy theorists that are available. And the thing is that this hasn't happened in a long time in history, perhaps even ever, that although the stories are contradicting, they're all demonstrating the same story. That by itself illustrates a level of the truth. Just because side A is on this side of the fence and side B is on this side of the fence in regards to a particular story doesn't make the story itself false. This is the fun part about it, right? This is how we know what they're actually examining. Problem is that the certain things about we'll say the Russia hacks and this and that are either just sound bites, downright like blatant falsehoods. They're just there to rile people up because everybody got used to hate Russia and they were really holding on to that skirt string, hoping that maybe this is the election, this is the president, that we could really blame something on Russia, something of virtue. You know, look at what happened. Russia helped steal the first female president. Like, this was a great montage. It was perfect. It just failed. It just failed. That's all. It's no big deal. They tried, didn't work. People saw through it. It was too thin of a veil. It was too easy to see through. Evidence turns out that if there was any form of Russian collusion, Russian hacking, Russian so on and so forth, that it was actually Miss Clinton trying to sabotage Mr. President. So this is the thing, right? So we don't really want to dig too deep into Russia now, understanding what we understand now, because it would really tarnish. It would really, really, really tarnish the first female president, especially considering if she's intending to run again. If I was Hillary Clinton, I'd be waiting it out. Just let Trump do his thing. He's going to win again. He's going to buy it. It's going to be done. But after 4 more years, he'll have to step down. People will vote Hillary Clinton in. It'll happen. It'll just be because, hey, you had Barack Obama, you cocksuckers got Donald Trump, give us Hillary Clinton. We want to see what's going to happen here, because there is a very interesting aspect of Hillary Clinton being a former first lady. The access to information she would have had would have been paramount during his presidency. The Clinton Foundation and all that stuff, all of that information is available to her. It's a smorgasbord of power. Whether or not it would be abused, whether or not it would be used to protect, is beside the argument here. We're just trying to figure out as to whether or not she could pull it off. She could pull it off. Question is do we want her to? Right? These Pizzagate nonsense things are real and so on and so forth. These are quite costly to a woman like her. But anyway, so she loses the election. Donald Trump's there. Haven't seen too much bad shit happen yet. It is what it is. Migrants are trying to flood the American border. This should be interesting. This is going to be fun. The amount of twisty-turvy information that's going to come out in regards to this story is going to be impeccable. This migrant situation will receive the similar kind of attention, I believe, as a school shooting. If you put multiple school shootings together on one day, the kind of media frenzies that would take place, trying to figure out what's happening and why did all the I think it's going to be that kind of coverage. Sorry, not cover, but coverage. They're waiting for the first shot. That's all they're waiting for. Someone's going to have to pull the trigger, right? That's how these things happen. So that's kind of worrisome for them in the States. It is. But it is what it is. It's a real world situation. Right at the door. It's not out in the desert. In not so many words, it might literally be something the United States needs to happen right now. A little shake-up close to home might be what they need. It won't last long. It's normally what happens when an unarmed population meets a heavily armed resisting force. It'll probably get swept under the rug, not to mention most people won't hear about it after it happens. It's just going to go bing, bang, boom, and then there'll be a media silence. So we will get out. People will know of it. They'll know a skirmish has happened. But to what extent, I don't think anybody will be truthfully aware. That's going to be sad. What about Alex Jones? I asked you guys to look into that, eh? And see, I stepped away because the truth is that when I ask people to look into things, they really do look into things. When I ask people to do things, they really do things. And it helps promote the cause. It helps promote how much I know. Everything. It helps me make more accurate videos. It's funny. I purposely disinfoed one of my videos just to see if the viewer audience was still quick as a whip. Yeah, it was depressing to find out that they weren't. You know, when I make a declaration that November 11th, Remembrance Day, is to solely remember the World War II vets, no one jumped up to say, no, dude, it's actually in reference to World War I. Perhaps it's because we've decided to make it for all war veterans, and no one really cares which war it was there to represent. Maybe. Who knows? But, as they say, those who are ignorant to their history are doomed to repeat it. And it's like I've always said, the interesting aspects of what's happening here is that history is beginning to superimpose itself upon itself in order to repeat itself. So what's going to happen is that if you can think of just 3 really nasty events that took place in human history, and I mean like some big ones, right? Like I like to say things like, let's mix Noah's Ark, so the great cataclysmic events of Noah's Ark, with the Moses freeing the slaves. So the Pharaoh let my people go. So now we have natural cataclysms, and we also have political upheaval. Pharaoh let my people go, right? And then we have to tie onto there a rather recent form of human history, but still substantially removed, just like Pharaoh let my people go and Noah's Ark are substantially removed from each other. Let's grab a moment in history that's substantially removed from Pharaoh let my people go, and we'll call it World War II. A moment where the human race actually did great battles with itself, dwarfing any combat sport. And that's what I call the old wars, combat sport. Once you look at World War II, those are wars. Everything else is military conflicts, skirmishes, disagreements, but you can't call them wars, not once you stack them up beside the Second World War. So let's superimpose Noah's Ark on top of Pharaoh let my people go, on top of Nazi Germany's struggles with the world. And now let's have all 3 of those lovely events transpire at the exact same time. So let us see a time in human history where the world is in cataclysmic environmental upheaval mixed with political upheaval, geopolitical upheaval, superimposed on top of a worldwide conflict. Whoa! Looks like I just described fucking yesterday. It's where we are. It's not. You just kind of have to phase all that other shit out and just look at what these texts are teaching. I've learned that what I enjoy to research it's called eschatology. I like researching the end day prophecies of all religious faiths. Kind of see where the dots connect. And holy shit, they connect extremely well. There was an old meme that would go around Facebook when I once was a Facebook guy. I haven't been on Facebook for almost a year now. But there was a meme that was circulating at the time. And it said that Jesus was the messenger. Muhammad was the messenger. And I forget the third one that they chose to use there. Moses, yeah. Moses was the messenger. Jesus was the messenger. Muhammad was the messenger. Forget the fact that these men are separate. Did you get the fucking message? It's not complex. They would have you believe it to be complex, but it's really not complex. That's the problem. You dig too deep, you work too hard, you throw your brain into a loop. You can't do that to yourself with a work that is as thankless and unforgiving and literally not rewarding. There's no monetary reward. I can't say that the work isn't rewarding because what you walk away with informationally is amazing. You learn a new outlook on life. You see different things. You know, we researched all of those secret societies, whether small or large, whether they're benign or intrusive or abusive. We researched them all. The truth is that in the process of doing this, I think we accidentally created a secret society of our own. Was so not part of the agenda, just saying. The agenda was quite clear. No censorship, open thoughts, open dialect, open discussion, open debate, civil, rational, reasonable debate, things of this nature. That was the agenda. The problem is that the subject matter and the current circumstance within the cybernetic world is interesting. So it literally drove a very large portion of the population underground, and they're not even committing crimes. It's purely just how they think, how they observe. It's not about wanting to take over the government or wanting to be the government. It's wanting to understand why the fuck the government's doing what it's doing. That's all people want to know. These treaties all over the place are being violated, broken. You know, it's not a matter of if nuclear war anymore. It's a matter of when. And that's the scary thought. It used to be a matter of if. Well, no, what? We can't do this. If we do this, the Russians are going to do that. And then after the Russians do that, it's going to lead them in a direction that we can't talk them out of, and that we're going to have to go full bore. They're going to have to go full bore, and may the best man left standing stand. So nobody did certain things in order to prevent the if. If we do this, they do that. The quid pro quo. Well, that's not happening anymore. Actually, what's legitimately happening, I think, is the opening of the 7 years of peace. What's happening is, after these treaties have been broken and violated, they begin to calculate loss of life behind it. Now, losing one life is too many. This is not the argument I'm presenting today. But what I'm presenting is that they have chosen whatever that number of loss of life was and still is deemed reasonably acceptable. Because Russia's developed new missiles, no one's doing anything about it. The United States has developed more missile defense, no one's really doing anything about it. The Russians have amped up some of their stealth fucking ninja killer submarines, the ones that can take out American subs. Yes, they have this thing. It exists. No one's done anything about it. That's just Russia and the United States. So let's get into China with the economic booms, the economic takeover, the way that their economy has been running, leaving itself with a 99% of their population above the poverty level. You can't look at a system like that and call it fucking stupid. And now they're preparing to inherently protect this system. They've found themselves creating islands in the South China Sea, man-made islands. Don't tell me it can't be done. Fucking Montreal has an amusement park called La Ronde, and we built it. The island did not exist. Okay, trying to figure out how they're pulling this off. China's probably working on an extremely intensive subway system. Perhaps even an underground monorail. Perhaps some magnetic propelled energy technology. But the earth being used to create the islands in the South China Sea comes from fucking somewhere. It doesn't just rain dirt. You just collect that shit and start dumping it in the ocean. You gotta go get that stuff. Okay? When Montreal made its subway system, it took the dirt from its subway system and created the island of Montreal where Expo 67 took place. And next thing you know, they have this amusement park called La Ronde. Greatest engineering marvel known in human history at the time. They proved that you can make a man-made island and build roller coasters on that shit. And it won't sink, and it won't fail, and it won't falter, and this will work. Watch, let's just do it. Just have faith. They proved it. China's doing it. Weaponizing it. Militarizing the innovative technologies and practices. That's real world stuff. That's not a movie, dude. That's really what's happening. The United States are having a hard time with it. These man-made islands, well, they technically kind of belong to the people who built them. It's not like just landing on a piece of land and saying, this is mine now. Can't do that anymore. Unless you create the landmass yourself. Strategic positioning. I'll tell you one thing. That's a hell of a fucking upgrade from an aircraft carrier. What do the Americans do on a military standpoint? They fuel up an aircraft carrier and they send it to where they want it to be. They station it, and there we go. Now I have a strip on the ocean. China says, I see your aircraft carrier, and now I build a fucking island that I don't have to refuel. Like I said, I understand what's taking place here. I see it. So all of these amazing, they are amazing. If you actually look into them, the engineering and the technology required to pull off what some of these countries are pulling off is fucking crazy. And I haven't even touched the United States' DARPA project yet. Quite legitimately fucking Skynet. I haven't even touched that yet. The AI systems. These things are impressive. These are extremely impressive. I don't talk much about them. I don't even disclose how much I know about them. Because that is going to be where the next last stand is. It won't be national borders anymore. It'll be humans versus machines. They made a movie about that shit. We're extremely close to that movie as well. That movie, that story, I think is a beautiful adaptation, a beautiful representation as to what would happen right after history superposes itself upon itself to repeat itself. You look at the future wars found in the Terminator films, and you are looking at an extremely close depiction as to what you're going to wake up to one day, if you are amongst the lucky to wake up. Yeehaw. And can we stop it? No. No, why can it not be stopped? Because everybody at play has entirely too much power. This is legitimately act of God shit. This is act of God. This is Pharaoh, let my people go. This is the world requires another prophet. This is some pretty crazy biblical shit. But it's your everyday life. There's nothing fantastic or hocus pocus about this. This is what's fun. You guys look at me with a straight face and tell me that Jesus didn't raise the dead, and yet we bring people back from the dead every day in hospitals. You guys come to me with a straight face and say that immaculate conception is impossible, yet I have the technology for test tube babies. You guys tell me that aliens don't exist, and then you tell me that God is not of this world. Well, if he's not from Earth, then he's not an earthling, then God's a motherfucking alien. That's it. That's the definition, straight out. Extraterrestrial, not of Earth. God is not of this world. Therefore, he cannot be considered an earthling. This is why the Muslims have a really fucking hard time with the Jesus story. It's okay. I can sort this shit out for you too. Okay? You look at me with a straight face and tell me that Jesus is not the Son of God. And then we observe in today's culture that we are all the sons and daughters of God. Why? Because we are of his pure creation. When you create a child, that child, you are their parents. They are a child of you. You are not a God. And therefore this child is not a God. This is a human child. But all humans are the children of the Creator. And I can say that about every species on the planet. Every aspect of the universe that incorporates life is a child of God. That is impressive. That's what the Pope was trying to say not too long ago. If aliens exist, God created them too. Let's get this clear. Right? This is the teachings of the Almighty and the All-Powerful Heavenly Father. Whether it's a mom or a dad or both are up there, or you've ever seen the movie The Knowing and got, you see where I'm going with this here? The great powers and energies that men and women once called God, I think we kind of lost touch with that thing. I think so. But here's the problem. Losing touch with that thing isn't permanent. That is the fun part of what I'm researching. Now, it may very well be permanent for me. It may be permanent for my children. It may be permanent for my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. But there will be a generation that will walk with God again. That is the promise. That's what I don't like when people say, you will walk with God in heaven again. No, you won't. You will not walk with God in heaven ever the fuck again. How does that make you feel? What's going to happen is that during the last days, it's written in fucking plain black and white on both sides of the religious spectrum, that when this happens, earth shall be transformed into paradise, into heaven. This means that where we came from, we're not going back. Even if you break this all the way down to maybe, just maybe, we're an alien race. And a fucking eons ago, something crash landed on Earth. It's the only thing that explains why the fuck the lost city of Atlantis was so goddamn well advanced. You're not looking, and this is what people are baffled about, you're not looking at evolution, you're looking at degradation. That's what's screwy with people. And that now, when we landed here, we were way up here. And because we couldn't adequately, because I'm telling you right now, I'm a relatively intelligent person. You drop my ass on an abandoned planet. I can't build a nuclear fucking reactor. It doesn't matter if humans on Earth have them. I don't fucking have a clue on how to start it. But see, the people that would have landed here, they wouldn't have been me. These would have been the people that would have been nuclear-powered fucking spaceships, perhaps even a technology above these things. And the people here could have fixed their shit. So when this thing lands and crash lands, perhaps it just lands and takes off. Like, not even crash land here. And then we just were like, fuck it, we're just going to colonize this place. Look, oh, that's pretty. Stick around. Fuck, it's cold. We're going to have to fix that, though. We'll get something to put on. Right? So we just got to get here. But we're fucking ludicrously intelligent. Ludicrously intelligent. So intelligent that we're building the lost city of Atlantis. It doesn't matter how intelligent our asses are, we don't live on this planet. So the environmental climatology, the changes that this planet does, we didn't factor that shit in. Didn't matter how intelligent the race was, just didn't factor it in. Sunken city. Shit that licks balls, doesn't it? This is where I'm going here. If it's alien, it's alien. If it's God, it's God. But the truth of the matter is they're both the same interchangeable damn thing. Except for one thing. The aliens are apparently physical. And we can see them and you know what I mean? And according to religious dogmatic principles, God is all powerful, all everywhere. He lives in the ether, in the prana. He controls all of that shit. He controls the mindset, everything that you think. This stuff, that's what's all fucked up. That's where his fingers are playing. Bing, 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 bing. Does whatever he wants with the mindset. The entire different vibrational frequency than what we reside in is his playground. That's why visions, dreams, all this shit, that's his playground. That's what he does. It's also the devil's playground. That's where the struggle is, apparently. Some people call that heaven and hell. And this and that. It's just, anyway, vibrational, directional nonsense. Eschatology. What happens when this vibration intermingles with our vibration? What happens then? Musicians would call it one of two things, a harmony or a discord. The two vibrations coming together would complement each other, or the two vibrations coming together would be a discord. They would not sound good together. You guys are thinking that the harmony is when God kills Lucifer, and no. Oh, no. The Lucifer killing God and the God killing Lucifer, those would both be considered a discord. Creates all power from both sides. Having both of them up and down, up and down. Oh, but God is always greater than Lucifer. This is why God never really dies. But he could kill Lucifer, yes, but he can't kill Lucifer. He needs Lucifer. God doesn't need anything. Are you sure? Are you sure? The creator and that creates everything in this universe doesn't need anything. Not one fucking thing does this thing need. Why the fuck did it create us then? I honestly believe we are this thing's experiment. This thing is learning from its creation. It's studying. Why? Because we are made in its image and this is how we operate. Very interesting stuff. They just don't want you to look at it like that. That's all. They still want you to bend on your knees and pray to an invisible ghost. That gets you through the day. Feel free. Actively engaging the conversation in your brain, that's the fun one. When you start to try and trick your own brain and figure out different answers and thoughts and things like that, things you haven't thought of before, and all of a sudden a new idea just goes ka-ping. Oh shit, where did that come from? Never even thought of that. Shit. That is you playing on God's playground. That's what you have to have fun with. The guy's got a sense of humor, man. Or the woman's got a sense of humor. It wouldn't made us look all different and act all stupid if they didn't want to sit back and laugh from time to time. Just saying. Is it going to be the end? When it happens, it's going to be the end of existence. The two can't coincide. It'll be the perfect melding. We will be with the stars. We will be stars. It'll be fucking crazy shit, man. You have no idea. The ramifications, what these physicians are figuring out to what happens to us when we die. The human creature is learning at an exponential rate. Exponentially. It's learning very quickly. We don't even know why either. This is the fun part. I'm creating a YouTube video and I talk. That's always fun. But we don't even know why we're learning this fast. Why is it that as I'm speaking, you have now caught the curve of what I'm explaining, and you can almost predict what the fuck it is I'm going to say next? It's the wavelength. You now understand what I'm talking about, and now we're floating on the same wavelength. It took us 30 minutes to get here. The problem with researching religious eschatology is that you eventually figure out the war and how old it is and whose fault it is. Well, how dare you say it's anybody's fault? Nobody fights for nothing. Doesn't happen. When both sides keep themselves, nobody says shit, fights don't happen. You get stupid, fights take place. Nobody fights for nothing. Somebody did something wrong. And we have to examine it. I asked you guys to look into Alex Jones for me. Figure out why he got banned, what was so censored, so on and so forth. The mainstream media story is what returned to my ears. Don't act like I don't know that stuff. I know the mainstream media stuff. I'm looking for the other stuff. Mainstream media outright states that he got deplatformed because he said that Sandy Hook never happened. The truth is that people have, you guys know how I hate the perversion of language, so this is literally what happened here. He became a victim of the perversion of language. He never said at the very, very beginning, perhaps later, he said it for the layman's to understand what the fuck he was trying to say. Perhaps. But I'm telling you right now that when in the early stages, when it was happening, Alex Jones was declaring Sandy Hook to be a false flag operation. Now, false flag operations and shit that never happened are sometimes the same, but in most cases, totally different. In essence, when we look at the Gulf of Tonkin, the Lusitanian, thinking of the Lusitanian, the incident, that never happened. The Gulf of Tonkin Lusitanian incident never took place. And yet we were told that a boat sunk and it was a pretext to war. That's a false flag. The Gulf, it never happened. 9/11 is also a false flag. But to look at anybody with a straight face and say 9/11 never happened would be an absurdity. Because it did happen. I was alive. People died. There was fire on TV. It was a horrible event. But the false flag aspects of 9/11 are not a declaration that it didn't take place. The false flag aspects of 9/11 are simple. The Israeli government attacked the United States with their knowledge and their okay. After the event, the Israeli government pointed its fingers at the enemies of Israel, them bad Arabs, those evil Muslims that don't believe in Jesus. Researching the religious aspects of things, I've learned that Muslims do believe in Jesus. They believe quite heavily in Jesus. He happens to be the most quoted prophet in the Quran. So to look at me with a straight face and say the Muslims don't believe in Jesus, oh no, you're just misinformed, you're ill-informed. Muslims believe in Jesus so much they actually believe that Jesus, the son of the Virgin Mary, is the one prophet that will return. That's how great of a man he was. And that it will be Jesus that leads the armies of heaven against the armies of hell. But Muslims don't believe in Jesus, right? Y'all better start picking up some books and start reading. Moving right along now. Why would we allow such a thing to happen? Well, it would be because Adolf Hitler's Germany had persecuted Zionism and damn near exterminated an entire faith off of the face of the earth. And that we as human creatures, we didn't agree with such an action. We did not want an entire group of people to be eradicated off the face of the earth. Especially when we realized that it was only a tiny, minute aspect of that faith. Some would call them religious extremists or fanatics. But it would only be a small sector of that would become a problem nuisance in a population that only held like 2% of the world's population. It had no bearings for us to worry. Or for at least we thought. I'm still trying to figure out why the fuck we dropped about 6 million people from Germany into Palestine. And we thought that was a good idea. And that there would be no recourse whatsoever. No violence, that everything would just go peachy keen. Or, I guess we believed that. Because we believed that the negative and evil, villainous element was conquered and defeated, and that the peaceful element purely required help for relocation. This would mean that if Adolf Hitler was in the wrong, and if Adolf Hitler was the bad guy, that these two cultures should be able to define a line, obey this line, and live a prosperous life in their respective countries to grow their respective continent. Very similar to what the United States and Canada has done. We may disagree, but we have a beautiful line that we respect. And we stay on our side, they stay on their side. And we never falter or fail to help each other on the big issues when the time comes. So maybe the Allies were looking for the Jewish counterparts and the Muslim counterparts to behave in a way as what the Americans and the Canadians do. But see, this pretext can only work if Adolf Hitler was the bad guy. Now, if I look at this from a different standpoint and I say that, wait a minute, what if Zionists and Zionism was the problem? What if they were the bad guys? In order for this theory to develop itself to be truthful in any form, then I would have to pick up these people, drop them in the middle of the desert, and with no aggravation or instigation on our parts, the Allies, that all of a sudden we would find war fomenting again in the Middle East. If I am correct, we killed the wrong guy in World War II. And although he damn near decimated an entire population of religious extremists, it's rearing its ugly head again. And see, this is going to be very, very dicey this time around, because this time around, anti-Semitism is a no-no. You are not to hate a Jew because they're a Jew. This is just fucking preposterous. But I'm not supposed to hate a Muslim because he's a Muslim either. And I'm not supposed to hate Christians because they're Christians. I'm not supposed to agree with the KKK. And I'm not supposed to agree with the Islamic jihadist. Therefore, I'm not supposed to agree with the Jewish Zionist. And this is the skew that has taken place here in the world because of what has taken place in Nazi Germany and the atrocious natures of what the National Socialist Governmental Party did to the native Jewish population due to an extremely small, aggressive portion of that population. We as the human creature have decided that's a fucking bad idea. For good reason. So how do we address it then? How do we fix this? This is the political landscape. This is the current problem. This is the war. This is what's happened. Pay attention. Close attention. We grabbed Adolf Hitler's fucking problem, dropped it in the motherfucking desert, and the sandstorm hasn't stopped since. Come the fuck on. Why? Why did 9/11 happen? Well, there's two reasons here. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist. There's two reasons, okay? One, Israel went to war with the Muslims, and they got a good solid fucking hook in there, and it worked. But then the Muslim nations, they got themselves together, and they did what they call, I believe it was a 6-day war, where like all the Muslim nations came in and failed preposterously. Yes. But at the end of the day, these things just kind of take place, and we have to study them and observe them and realize, what the hell are we doing? Because now, the very military power and the military might that created the United States of America and defended the United States of America and made it the greatest country in the world of its time is trying to build a new country somewhere else. And it's come across a lot of fucking friction in the process here. The question of the matter is how much is it costing us? And do they deserve it? Because I'm telling you, God, this is why I don't like to speak. Because it doesn't matter how politely or how eloquently you put together the thought process, it is going to border on the goddamn racist side. Not because I want it to, but because of the historical evidence and the historical facts and the things that have taken place. That once people kind of look into it, they're like, Jesus Christ, he's not making it up. Of course I'm not making it up. Who wants to make this shit up? Fucking Jesus Christ, this shit's not fun. There's nothing pleasant about this shit. And the realization of this shit is even worse. It's going to bring forward one of the largest military cataclysms the world has ever seen. We're going to turn entire nations into fucking glass over this. Don't tell me it's not important. I don't know. But I can tell you that there is a newspaper article written that states that before Nazi Germany began exterminating, they were filling up trains and boats and making them leave. And every country in the world had a policy that said no. That doesn't strike anybody odd? Even during the Syrian refugee crisis, countries opened the doors. Perhaps some of them are not really fucking thankful for it, and they've took over entire sections of Europe, and to say that I'm blind and not seeing it, no, I see it. It's not fun, it's not pleasant. It's resembling a lot of the ghettos the United States saw. the Italian ghettos and things like that, and the Japanese concentration camps and things of this nature when they took in too many foreign immigrants to try and have an open, sincere heart. This is why the United States gives money opposed to taking people in a lot of situations. It's better this way for them. Us, on the other hand, we have a ludicrously large nation. So, what, you want to take over people? Just go over there. And it's fucking between there and there. Ask the natives. They know how to build a reserve. Go on. Go. Go live. Go be free. Go live your way. We won't even bother you. Native American reserves. Sanctuaries for Syrian refugees. At that rate, do you think I honestly care? Yeah, you want to mingle with the people? Mingle with the people. I'd like to try your food. I love tasting cultures' foods and learning about different cultures and people. So yeah, it's fun. Come on down. Let's go mingle. Let's have some fun. But at that time, this group of people was not allowed to go anywhere. Everybody said no. And on top of everybody saying no, I find out that this exact same group of people had been exiled over 109 times over this length of human history. So to look at me with a straight face and say that this problem and question is new, no, it's not. It's one of the oldest in human history. And I'm going to tell you what the oldest question in human history is. What do people who don't like pedophiles do to pedophiles? That's it. Cut and dry and as simple as could possibly fucking be. That's it. I'm not the one that made it up. They wrote it in their fucking holy text. So what do you do with a people like that? Because after further scrutiny and further investigation, you know those German book burnings? Yeah, after further scrutiny, he comes to find out that they were smut. It was porn that they were burning. Unwholesome literature that was degrading society. Opposed to what the United States has been doing and has like an 80 or 90 fucking percent whatever in the porn industry. Think about it all the way through. If there is a group of people who are seeking to protect the sanctity of children and are trying to keep children as young as possible for as long as humanly possible because the grown-up world is ugly, what do those people do to the people that make it fucking ugly? Okay? Because when you start reading the religious texts, this is where you start finding out, oh my Jesus, fuck, this is why people don't even want religion in the world. The problem is that you guys actually think that the problems that I'm having is written in the Quran. No, man, it's in the Talmud. The Talmud is a horrible fucking book. The Talmud dictates that Jesus Christ is in hell boiling in human excrements. The Talmud dictates that the Talmud outright declares that if somebody drops their wallet in Israel and they are not of Jewish descent, it's against the law for a Jew to give you back your wallet. According to the Talmud, it is against the law for a Jew to return the property of a Gentile. That as soon as a Jew picks up the property of a Gentile and has possession of it, it is now theirs. You guys are wondering why these land grabs look so fucking weird? So why would this happen? Why would 9/11 happen? I dictated earlier there's one of two reasons. Well, one is Israel did it to have the power of the United States military to help them subdue the Arabic militaries. That's one reason. That's cut and dry. But let's look at the other pretext, which could be that the United States and Israel were already working hand in hand together. and that the Muslim Arabic nations had caught wind of that. Soon as the Arabic nations and militaries would have learned that the United States was financially backing the Israeli murder machine, they would have went after the actual people funding these things. That's why you hear politicians saying things like unwavering support of Israel. First politician that says, you dug this hole, you fucking lie in it. We beat Hitler, we gave you the fucking Palestinian land, you can't even figure that shit out on your own. You know, you don't need our help. If you cannot find a way to exist on this planet on your own two goddamn feet, then be done with you. Maybe you're just one of the parts of the human race that are about to become extinct like the goddamn dinosaurs. You all want to believe in evolution, right? The best ones survive. All that bullshit. Well, maybe the Zionist is just the fucking last tier on the human fucking chain that's about to go goddamn extinct, and they don't know what to do with themselves anymore. Because literally, just like a creature that has cancer or a fucking... Oh, okay. Better example. When the coyote gets his fucking paw stuck in a trap, and the coyote actually chews his fucking paw off so they can escape. Okay, well, let me put it to you like this. The human race is the coyote, and the paw is fucking Zionism. The human race is literally chewing this off and saying, fuck you, I don't need you. I can live the rest of my life without this shit. Dangerous ways of thinking. And you're wondering why people like Benjamin Netanyahu are worried and they're working up on defense and amping up on defense. Of course they are. Because they just took God knows how much money from how many Christian nations. And these Christian nations are about to find out that these fuckers believe that Christ is in hell boiling in shit. It's one thing to believe that Christ didn't even exist. That's one thing. Okay? We could share some stories and you could be like, dude, I just don't fucking believe it. I just don't think a man did that. I'm sorry, man. I can't within my heart fucking believe that what you just said is the truth. Okay, cool. That's one aspect of it. But then to flip the fucking script and to say that not only is he not the Messiah and not the Savior of the world and not all of these whatever the fucks you want to say that he is, that he's boiling in human shit in hell instead? And you want these Christian nations to help you? Trust me when I tell you, the Muslims, all they're doing is going, wait, watch this. That's all the Muslims are doing. Because they will be like food on the table. Do you ever see somebody pick up a piece of chicken and the chicken want to fight back? No, because it's food. It submits. The Muslim culture is that they will be as food on the table. And that they will be numbered like the froth of the sea. So it's a lot of Muslims. And the companions, when they learn this stuff there, they start to have faith and hope. And that's what's happening right now. Right now. The Muslims are as food on the table. Just as their prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him, prophesied that they would be. So to look at me with a straight face and say that Islam is wrong? Another prophet held no virtue or value, or that his information wasn't pertinent? I don't know. But right now, it's looking a whole lot like two things. Excuse me. One is that they are numbered like the froth of the sea, that they're all over the world. There's millions, billions of Muslims. And that they are laid out like the food on a table. Look at what's happened to Syria. Look at what's happening to Palestine. Look at what's happening to the Gaza Strip. But that's something, and this is where the religious connotations get a little skewed. This is where people don't fully understand. There's a chance that Jesus isn't coming back. Just like there's a chance that the Antichrist isn't coming at all. There's a possibility, a strong possibility that you've heard it said before. Live a Christ-like life. What if that's it? What if that's all? What if that is the point? What if the Christian, the person that's living a Christ-like life, is the resurrection of Christ? And what if the government systems that we're being asked to live by, what if that is the Antichrist? What if that is the beast that people speak of? And that humans will be given a choice, that you'd rather live by Jesus' laws, which would include the 10 Commandments, than the laws that you're forced to abide by now. Go grab the Black's Law Dictionary and stack that bitch beside the 10 Commandments, and you tell me which one you want to live your life by. That's now. It's happening now. So what if we are, all of us, the humans, those who believe that there's a better way to live, what if we are the resurrection of Christ? What if that is Christ's resurrection? And we just decide to say no more. Now it's over. That's where human history is going. And little piece of tidbits of information for you. What I call a Zionist, you will find them in the Bible. They are called Pharisees. The scribes and the Pharisees. The very people that Jesus Christ chased out of a temple with a fucking whip. The same day he flipped the tables of the money changers, because Christ was not a big fan of money lenders. He didn't like bankers. He didn't like Zionist Pharisees manipulating the scriptures that actually physically and emotionally and spiritually affected the souls of the people around them. That shit didn't sit well with him. Also didn't sit well with Adolf Hitler, and it also did not sit well with yours truly, Alex Jones. I think Alex Jones went messianic. I think he just decided that the gig is up, and now I'm telling the truth. What do Jesus Christ, Adolf Hitler, and Alex Jones all have in common? They were all Jewish men that went against the Zionist Jewish ideology. Ooh, how spooky was that? These are all facts. This is all reality. You just got to keep digging. And I'm done wasting an hour of your life showing you these things. No, you're not an anti-Semite. No, you're not Adolf Hitler, and you don't want to start exterminating the Jews. It's time for you to start looking at what the fuck is going on. Because soon, it's all going to go bye-bye in the flash of nuclear fire. And no one's going to even know why the fuck it happened. Now you know. I'll make another video someday. You know, perhaps when Israel is done with the media blackout of Gaza, considering they just fucking bombed it on November 11th and destroyed the shit out of it. I had an opportunity to observe the Russian fucking photographs. It was hard to get a Russian drone up there, but they did it. Damascus is literally a ruinous heap. Damascus is exactly how the Bible said it would be before the second coming. Damascus is a ruinous heap, and the whole world is slowly gathering itself against Israel. It's coming. Could take 10 years, could take 50, could take another 100. But I'm telling you, we are at the door. My religious eschatological research has dictated quite clearly there's no more signs left, not even the signs in the sky, because that happened not too long ago. With the moon at the Virgin's feet, with the crown of... That's all happened. The astrological signs have taken place. You are in the thick of it now. You can't see the end of the world coming because it's already started. You're living it. Anybody who has a time machine can look at it and say, this is the time frame where shit went to shit. But you and I, we don't have this beautiful ability. We have to have a keen sense of observation and realize, oh fuck, shit went to shit. But for now, I'm Mark Dwaron, and if you can hear this, you are the resistance. Enjoy the rest of the day, my friends.